What's on, minifans? Welcome to part 2 of my zonemortalis tiles build. Alrighty, you can see the final result here, so let's have a look at how I did it. Alright, on to building. Alrighty, so I've built a box just out of cardboard and coated it in sticky tape so the mouldy material doesn't stick to it. And then I've hot glued around the edges just to make sure there's no leaks. And what I've done is blue tack down the 5 tiles we've made. And then I've mixed up some silicone rubber and I've mixed in a bit of food dye so I can see it properly. Mixed it all up and then poured it in to the box. This takes about 4 hours to set. Alright, I wasn't sure how much silicone to mix up and I didn't mix up enough. Luckily it does have a 4-hour cure time, so I could mix up some more and then pour that in as well. I know it's got a few bubbles in it, but these didn't affect the actual, the moulded bits. The silicone's all cured now, so I just go ahead and take apart the box, or rip the box apart and pull that mould out. Because I've used blue tack to stick the tiles down, I have had some leakage of silicone underneath the tiles, but this is easily remedied by just pulling it and cutting it with a sharp knife. And looks great. Picked up all the details off the tiles, very pleased. My first attempt, very pleased. Ready, so it's on to my first cast. So I've mixed up some resin, and I didn't want to mix up too much. So what I actually did was pour water into the mould, and then weigh that water, and then do that much resin. And it turned out I was about bang on, maybe a tiny bit too much, but yeah, not bad. So anyway, I've mixed up some resin, and I pour it into each of the moulds. Now, I did get some bubbles, which I didn't realise at this point. You'll see when I take these out. Alrighty, so the resin's cured now. Here I am tapping each one to see if it's hard. And they've come out pretty good. The only one which I had issues with is the 4th tile, and it's because of the bubbles. Some of the detail was lost. But we remedy this later. But I'm pleased with my first attempt. I wasn't entirely 100% happy with that first lot, so I've mixed up some more resin and I've put in some black ink so I can see it a bit better this time. And what I do is pour it in and then go around with a cocktail stick and make sure there's no bubbles in the details. But I did make a mistake here. I didn't clean the mold first. So in the end I get these little bits of resin left on the new cast, which are fine. I can clean them up, but it does mean it's a bit of a task to clean it up. I take this into consideration for any future casts and I clean it properly. Alrighty, so these ones are now cured and I take them all out, and the detail is all there. But as you can see, there's those little shiny bits of resin. That's what I was talking about. So I have to go along with various instruments, a brush, a craft knife, and tweezers, and just get rid of them all. I do a bit of cleanup here with files and sandpaper as well. Okie dokie. So I've cast all the tiles. I had to do specific ones several times, so it's taken days and days. And honestly, I remade the center tile with a circle because I wasn't quite happy with the mesh, how I put it on. It wasn't quite straight. So as I say, I remade that one and cast it again. Anyway, I've got the 9 tiles ready. I've custom made another box, stuck them down in the center, and it's on to pouring the silicone, which again, I don't do enough of, so I have to mix up more and pour a second lot in as well. Awesome, the silicone's all cured now, so I go ahead and deconstruct the box. The doorbell went twice, which is why the video cuts off a couple of times here. Of course, it has to, you know, when you're doing something, you get disturbed. Anyway, it all turned out fine, but again, the silicone had leaked underneath, and you see what I do here. I just sort of pull the bits, the excess bits, across and then cut with a sharp knife. There was a bit of cleanup to do, because some of the silicone had leaked in between the tiles. So again, I used some tweezers, pull those bits up, and cut them off. But you can see, it comes out pretty well. It captures all the detail, so very pleased. And this one's nice and thick, so it should last for years. On to what I think is going to be one of the final resin pours. Now I chucked in some black ink again into the resin, but I didn't notice there was sort of a clump of dried ink on the top of my bottle, and that went in as well, so you see me picking out bits. But honestly, I just added too much ink, and you'll see what happens in a minute. But anyway, I pour it in and then go around with a cocktail stick to make sure, again, no bubbles obscuring details. I thought the resin had cured, although one bit on the bottom hadn't cured, but it was literally just the surface, so I thought maybe it's okay. So I take this out of the mould, and you see it sticks in one corner, and I eventually get it out, but the resin hasn't cured, which is such a shame because it all looks really good, but it's just those 2 bits. But hey ho, it's a learning experience for me. It's not much resin, it's just a bit of time wasted, but the detail all looks good, so I'm pleased with the mould. Alrighty, I'm leaving this one for maybe another week or so, and hopefully it does cure in the end, because I can always cut those bits off, maybe do some damage, though it could easily be usable. Okie dokie, on to the last resin pour. Now I've not added anything to the resin this time. I think maybe it was the black ink which affected the last batch. So I've just mixed up thoroughly, just pure clear resin. Pour that in, again, go around with a cocktail stick. resin is cured and it's come out perfectly. All the details still there. I just have to brush off the little remnants of resin and also wash the mold. You see my wife's hand here helping me. Yeah, I'm very pleased with this. So what I go ahead and do is paint it up in the same scheme as the previous project, so I don't include this footage, or I don't film any of this. If you want to see how I painted them, check the last video. The only thing I did differently is glazing a bit of white on the middle of the grey tiles. And anyway, that's the project done. Here's a photo of the finished result. Dead pleased with this one, and I'll continue to cast and paint these up. As always, if you've liked anything in this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, ring that notification bell if you want to stay up to date, and leave comments and I will get back to you. Love to hear feedback. That's it. I will see you in the next video. Cheers for now.